Chapter 2, The Thought Trap. The forest that stops fighting. The harder you wrestle with a shadow, the more convinced you become that it's a solid. Long before maps were accurate, travelers spoke of a strange forest hidden deep within the mountains. And at first, it seemed really ordinary. Tall pine, moss-covered stones, birdsong, fresh air. When dusk settled, the shadows began to move, and not quickly, just enough to catch it in the corner of your eye. One traveler mistook shadows for a wolf. When he drew his sword, the shadows shifted. And when he swung again, another shadow appeared, this time behind him. He swung again, another shadow. He swung again, another. He was fighting shadows from every direction. By morning, he was exhausted, bleeding from the branches and the thorns, and he stumbled his way out of the forest. An old woman waiting on the edge asked, "What happened to you?" "The forest attacked me." She looked at the scratches on his hands, broken branches behind him, the bent sword. Then she smiled kindly and said, "No, the forest never fought you. It simply reflected every movement you made." And the traveler didn't understand, so the old woman brought him back to the forest. And again, the shadows appeared. Again, they shifted. But this time, she lowered her walking staff and she simply stood still. The shadows danced, but none of them came closer. And as the traveler slowly lowered his sword, the shadows continued moving, but they were no longer felt dangerous. That day, he learned something that he will never forget. Some battles only continue because we keep swinging. I ask you right now, for the next 30 seconds, do not think about a white bear. Not one bit. Not a fluffy one, not a cartoon one. Definitely don't think about a white bear in your kitchen. How do you think you're gonna do? A lot of people laugh a lot and smile when they experience this because almost immediately a white bear appears. And it's not because that you failed, because that's exactly how the mind works. In the 1980s, a psychologist named Daniel Wagner became very curious about something strange. What happens when people try to not think about something? He asked participants to stop thinking about a white bear, avoid it altogether. And whenever the thought appeared, they rang a bell. They found that the harder that he tried not to think about it, the more it appeared. We call it the white bear effect or the rebound effect. Mind is simply checking to see if the thought is gone. And ironically, by checking to see if the thought has gone, has brought the thought into attention awareness. Brings the thought back. A trap. It's not like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. The more you push it, it's easy at first, but the more you push and you push and you push, the force will eventually make its way out. Thoughts kind of behave the same way. The more desperately you try to suppress them, the more energy we're giving them. So when an uncomfortable thought appears, our brain will often respond with one goal: get rid of it. Distract ourselves. We'll analyze it, argue with it, seek reassurance, Google, replay the conversations. We review all the evidence possible. And at first it feels really helpful, doesn't it? Sometimes we even get a little bit of relief, and the brain will quickly learn this thought must have been dangerous. Otherwise, why are we working so hard to get rid of it? Without realizing it, our attempts to escape the thought has now taught our brain that that thought deserves attention, even more attention next time because it's dangerous. That's the trap, the literal thought trap. Mindfulness offers a different relationship. Instead of asking, how do I make this thought go away? We ask, what if we stop wrestling with it? That doesn't mean that you like the thought. That doesn't mean you accept it. It doesn't mean you agree with it or invite it to stay. It simply means that you are no longer treating every uncomfortable thought as an emergency. So think back to the forest. The traveler wasn't trapped in the shadows. He was trapped because he was convinced that the shadows were trying to fight him. Sometimes the greatest act of courage isn't winning the battle. It's discovering that there was never a battle to begin with. Imagine you've been sent a text message. Hours pass, no reply. Your mind says, oh my gosh, they're upset, they're mad at me. You replay the conversation. You read your messages over and over again. You check to see if they're online or if their Snapchat score has gone up. You even ask a friend maybe what they think. Action briefly lowers your anxiety, but only briefly. The next unanswered message becomes even harder to tolerate. So maybe you're lying in bed, a strange thought appears. I hope I locked the door. You check it, relief. 5 minutes later, like, what if I only think that I checked the door? You go back. Not because you forgot, because certainty never lasts. And this isn't because you are weak. It's because your brain is trying to protect you in the only way that it knows how. So this week, you don't need to eliminate your thoughts. I want you instead to notice when you start to argue with them. Pause, wait 30 seconds, do nothing. Don't solve it, don't analyze it, don't push it away, don't answer it. Simply notice. What does this thought feel like in my body? Does it stay the same or does it shift? You're not trying to be fearless in all of this either. You are practicing making a little bit more space and room instead of wrestling with it.